Before this video starts, I want to give a shout out to Louisville Nick. Congratulations, Nick. You were the only person who was able to correctly guess every single Versus the Network video through those vague hints on that one community post, and as promised, here's your shout out. Congratulations, you earned it. And now, on to the video. Here on Versus the Network, we've covered a lot of different types of shows. Shows that were the network's golden boy, only to get stabbed in the back. Shows that were never the golden boy and in fact were explicitly targeted. And even ones that straddled a line between positive and negative interactions with the network, just kinda walking on a tightrope the entire time, and trust me, that's not any better than the other two. But now we're gonna take a look at a Versus the Network first. I'll tell you why in just a minute, but first let me introduce you to the subject of today's video, the great comedy series that really needs a lot more attention. My Name is Earl. This is made by the same people that made Raising Hope. Oh, you've never seen that either? You guys need to watch more shows. Or maybe I need to watch less. I don't know. Anyways, My Name is Earl is a dark, offbeat comedy about this guy named Earl who used to be a low-life, petty thug. But now, he's stopped his life of crime and wants to make the world a better place. Sort of. What he wants to do is make up for his mistakes. He has this list of people that he's wronged somehow all throughout his life, and he wants to fix it all. That way, he can get good karma and therefore a good life. And also to stop being a terrible person, that's a big part of it, so him, alongside his dim-witted brother Randy, go all around their town trying to find all the people they wronged. And hijinks ensue. This is a dark show with a twisted sense of humor, but it's also got this sense of groundedness to it, and for some reason, Earl is kind of a lovable character because even though he's not the smartest or best guy around, he means well and he really does want to do what's right. I'm only telling you this to re-emphasize the fact that the show works. It's very, very good. And if you haven't seen it, please go check it out. It's definitely worth your time. But there is one thing you're gonna have to know about the ending, which we'll get into later. Maybe we'll have a full My Name is Earl video someday here on Media Mementos, but for now, we're going to get into Versus the Network number 206. What happens when the network is actually innocent? Yeah, Versus the Network doesn't always have to be about the network being the bad guy. Sometimes it's the show's fault. And the reason I decided to do this with My Name is Earl is because a lot of people feel that this show was screwed by the network. That's actually not true. Almost everything that happened to the show is its own fault. There is one aspect that I have to agree with the show on over the network, but once again, we'll get to that towards the end. My Name is Earl was ran on NBC, and it was a big hit. Season 1 got a lot of viewership and great critical response. Once again, it was dark but also lovable, offbeat but also coherent. It was an adult show that was more than just haha violence or haha sex, although it is worth noting that the show had a fair bit of both. Every episode in the first season was about Earl finding something on his list, going up to that person, trying to change it, and then getting involved in some crazy situation that's larger than life but also really hilarious. People cared about Earl, Randy, his ex, her new husband, everybody. So the show was a decent-sized hit. It wasn't as big as something like, say, Friends or Will and Grace, but I don't think it's supposed to be. It's just kind of, well, My Name is Earl. Season 2, however, is where things got a little different. And I guess different's an understatement because this is where everyone considers the show to kinda go off the rails. It really didn't take long, did it? So what's the premise of My Name is Earl? It's about Earl trying to go through his list and make things right to the people he wronged. Well, Season 2 does that, but there's no list. He'll be good to people and he'll help them, but he won't do anything on his list. From there, a lot of people raise their eyebrows going, wait, wasn't the whole point of this show to get Earl to cross every item off of his list? What's he taking all these detours for? This is delaying the inevitable. It's kind of like if in Pokemon, Ash decided to stop catching all the Pokemon and only focus on a select- oh wait, no, he actually did that. Never mind, let me find a better example, got it. It's like if in Modern Family, a lot of the episodes towards the end decided to focus on the parents instead of the kids, so basically it trims the cast in half and only focuses on like Phil and Gloria and Cam and- wait. That did that as well. Okay, you get what I'm trying to say here, right? It was going against its own premise, and people did not like that, and they also didn't like what came after. Like I mentioned, Earl is an ex-con. He was in jail for a while, and that's one of the reasons why he decided to straighten up and fly right. However, There's a part in My Name is Earl where they end up having Earl go back to jail, and then the show kind of becomes that for a while. Like, it's a story arc, I get it. But it's not really My Name is Earl anymore, it's Earl is the New Black. The writing here becomes a lot less funny. It's not bad. I will say that. It is not bad, but it's not nearly as great as what we saw before. Nor is it as interesting either, because now he's in jail. It feels like the character just regressed. And then he gets out of jail, gets into a coma, gets out of the coma, gets married, loses his wife to an Amish community. It's a lot. The fans of the show started leaving around here because of the jail stuff and also the fact that the episodes were changing in structure. Not really the stories, although, yeah, you can kind of tell there's a lot of story changes here. But also because the episodes became really serialized. I've seen a lot of older reviews online where people are saying you can't just sit down to watch the show anymore. It has to be this whole comprehensive experience. And they're right. I loved the season 3 episodes, even the coma ones. I thought they were really funny. But yeah, if you just watch season 3 episode 4 on its own, you don't get the same impact as you would if you saw the others before it. And then of course the ones after. It's like what happened with South Park in the 2010s. They decided to forego the episodic stuff in favor of more story-focused serialized sagas, and it didn't really work. So where does Versus the Network come in through all this? Well, NBC was still good to the show. It was letting them try new things, it was letting them get darker. They were giving them no issues at all despite the fans leaving in droves. And this was going on for 2 seasons, don't forget. Seasons 2 and 3 had mass exoduses of fans that were never coming back. Ratings were dropping, reviews were getting worse, but NBC stuck by the show. However, enough was enough eventually, and Season 4 was a little bit of a return to form. It still wasn't quite the same as Season 1. Still good. Again, I have to say that, still good. But by this point, it was already too late. They could hit the reset button all they wanted, and it wouldn't make a difference because the damage had been done. Going back to Modern Family, it's like when that show started getting a bit better in Season 10. There's no way that the thousands of fans that jumped ship in Season 6 and 7 were ever gonna come back to see it. And thus, Season 4 of My Name is Earl was the end. And this is where we get to the one part I can bucket NBC for, is the fact that they canceled My Name is Earl on a cliffhanger, so it's kinda like Alf, only unlike Alf, Earl doesn't have a TV movie to finish the story. There were a lot of attempts at revivals, but it would always involve lower budgets and lower pay for everyone involved, and they just didn't see it as worth it, so the show ended up ending. That was it. I guess it's possible that the show could be revived even today, but don't hold your breath, it's very unlikely. Since then, the show's fanbase has gotten really mad at the network for canceling it on a cliffhanger, for not letting it go on even longer, and for quote-unquote stifling it, but no, that's not true. Like I said, they had a lot of creative freedom with the show. It wouldn't have been nearly this dark if the network didn't care. They most certainly did. They stuck by Earl for as long as they could. But eventually there just weren't enough people watching and it wasn't bringing in any money, so they had to throw it aside. It's kinda like Invader Zim, one of the very, very, very few cancellations that Nickelodeon has done that's somewhat justifiable. See, the real reason Invader Zim was canceled, aside from not being as popular as SpongeBob, I hate that reason, was because around that time the show was costing more money than it was making, and Earl was the same. See, as much as people don't really like to think about it, show business really is a business. Networks have to think about the almighty dollar in order to stay alive. If a show isn't viable, it has to leave. And I know a lot of you out there are saying, well, channels like NBC or ABC or, okay, not UPN, but all these others, they're mega corporations. They can afford to lose a couple $1,000s here and there. Well, yeah, but they're not gonna do it. Again, it's a business, and if you have a part of your business that's making you lose money, you wouldn't want to keep that around, would you? But for all those out there who want to make a show themselves, or who want to work on a big-time TV or streaming service production, make sure that the network cares about you like they did with Earl. If they give you creative control, give you freedom of speech, and make sure that you're promoted very well, then you're gonna be okay. One of the reasons I wanted to make this video was to show you that the network isn't always in the wrong. We've told you about a lot of TV versus the network horror stories like the Weird Al Show, or Family Guy, or Dilbert, or VeggieTales, or Pinky and the Brain. It's just, there's so many, and all of them have been negative, and I really don't want to scare our potential creatives out there. I'm willing to guess that about 10% of our audience here wants to make a show or game or something of their own. And I don't want you to go into it thinking that the network is always out to get you, or you have to look out for evil and treachery every step of the way. I gotta tell you, these stories may be well publicized, but they're not the end-all be-all experience out there. And also, I want to let you know that sometimes it really is the show's fault. Even if the show is great, they could just get off the beaten path and try something too different that's not in tune with the original show. They could have good humor and good writing and all that, but if they don't stick to the original premise, and if they go against what made them popular, that's their fault, not the network's. So yes, for the very first time in Versus the network wins. And as one last little piece here for our final episode of Versus the Network 2, I want to tell you how the show was supposed to end according to the creator. So, Earl was never going to finish his list. It was going to go uncompleted throughout the entire show. This is because not only are there a lot of things on that list, but also, Earl eventually bumps into someone with a list of their own and Earl is on it. So they apologize to Earl and want to make things right. Earl then learns that a lot of people in the town have done the same thing. They have lists of their own and they're trying to do right. So with Earl accidentally causing this giant chain reaction of do-gooding, if that's even a word, he feels like he's finally made amends enough and then gets rid of the list. He can go on living a prosperous, sort of, carefree life, just like he always wanted. And now, we have ended Versus the Network 2.0. This was a wild and crazy ride, wasn't it? I certainly had fun, and I hope you did too. And Billy, you edited all these videos as per usual, so did you have fun too?
I've seen and learned so much from this process. So I guess you could say I enjoyed my time. Maybe. I don't know, I'll go watch some My Name is Earl. You know, it's been a while.
Great! I'm just gonna assume you said yes. And I hope you're ready for Versus the Network 3.0 next July, where we're gonna be covering some very interesting topics, even crazier and more insane than these ones, so strap in and get ready, at least if you want to do that a year in advance. But anyways, what'd you guys think of this video? What are some other instances of the network being the good guy? Comment below and let us know, because we're always excited to hear what you guys have to say. Real quick, I'd like to thank our Patreon executive producers, Leaf Razor, Valkyria, Woopdoo, Michaela Bellamy, MD the Dude, Blackjack, Nightingale Wednesday Nightmare, Unkale, and Manny Paredes. If you too would like your name read at the end of every Media Mementos video, then consider donating to our Patreon, which has a link in the description below. And guess what, friends? It's time for the comment of the day. Today's comment of the day goes to Manning Blaine. The WB has almost as bad of a track record of mistreated shows as UPN. No wonder they met the same fate. Absolutely. UPN may have been one of the worst networks for creators, but the WB was very close. I mean, did you see the Baby Blues video? That thing was a roller coaster. And just a little bit of a hint, we may be on a mission to go review another WB adult animated show next year, and it's a hill worth dying on, huh? See what I'm doing there? Please say yes. Anyways, thanks for watching Versus the Network 2.0, and we'll see you guys next year. And we'll also see you next week, because that's also when our next video is coming out. But anyways, get ready guys, it's gonna be exciting.